You had Trump associates saying in August, oh, John Podesta's going to end up in the, the barrel. Well, how would he have known that? The Russians hacked those emails. They stole them. Now, let me just quickly say, though, that getting to the bottom of this, which I hope everybody agrees we must, if I had been elected and this had come to light, if I had known once I walked into that Oval Office what we now know, I would have stopped at nothing to make sure this never happened again to anybody.
And Roger Stone, just Hillary Clinton's image, just the sight of her, just her voice makes my skin crawl.
Well, of course it is. And why she wasn't elected. People don't like Hillary Clinton. The more they see her, the more they hear her, the less they like her, because she's a congenital liar. There is no evidence whatsoever that the Russians hacked the DNC email. Just because 17 mindless neocon bureaucrats with the intelligence services repeat it as a mantra doesn't make it true. In the United States, in our court system, we go on the basis of evidence, proof, but there is no proof. In fact, most of the proof, as we read in The Nation magazine a couple weeks ago, is to the contrary. It appears that to the extent that any information was stolen from the Democratic National Committee, it was downloaded to thumb drives and taken out the back door. As far as the allegation regarding Podesta and the barrel, a little disappointed in that shout out that she didn't name me, but this is the same phony conjecture, supposition, projection we've heard from the Democrats. I had no advanced knowledge of the hacking of John Podesta's emails and never said I did. I did accurately predict that his shady business dealings in Eastern Europe, particularly with the oligarchs around Putin, on whom he made millions and who also paid Bill and Hillary hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that would all come to light, and it did. And that's what I meant by his time in the barrel, time under public scrutiny. What is particularly interesting in the light of all this is the fact that Hillary Clinton seems to want to blame everybody but herself. It's the Russians' fault. It's James Comey's fault. It's the media's fault. Now, that one's laughable. But really, it's her fault. She's old. She's tired. She's corrupt. She put forward no ideas for the American people, and she got outworked and outsmarted and outfoxed by Donald Trump. It's that simple. Hillary, the people may like your husband, although I question that. They really just don't like you.
I think that it's tough for Hillary to look in the mirror, to sleep at night. She goes through her entire political career just to be the president, just a selfish witch more than anything. She doesn't want to help anybody. She just wants to lift herself up. And through that process, she gets married to Bill Clinton, politicizes her daughter, and then at the end of the day, Bill Clinton is president twice, and she's President Goose Egg. I mean, she must really be miserable.
Well, I assume you're referring to Webb Hubbell's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, who is, of course, the daughter of Hillary Clinton and former law partner of Hillary's former Deputy Attorney General, I guess Assistant Attorney General Webster Hubbell, who, like many of the Clinton associates, later went to jail. Here's the big difference between a Hillary Clinton book signing and a Roger Stone book signing. I actually talk to people. I actually take questions. I actually personalize the inscriptions when people buy my books. I actually like to spend time with the people who come to hear what's on their minds and to talk about the politics of the day. If you read today's New York Post, Hillary Clinton zooms in. There are strict rules: no autographs, no pictures, no discussion, no inscriptions. It's completely closeted. It's about the money. It's all about the money. In some of her book signings, Owen, she's charging $3,000 and $4,000 for a primo seat at her book signing. These people would steal a hot stove. Greed is what motivates Hillary. Avariciousness, the desire for power and money, and what she's going to get instead is a prison cell. because that's what she deserves. This woman has no regard for the law. There is, of course, the question as to why the Trump Justice Department is in court today fighting against the release of her emails. Now, this is totally Alice in Wonderland. This is one of the more Kafkaesque things I've ever heard.
And also, you've got tonight, Trump is planning on dining with Pelosi and Schumer. So all kinds of shuffling going on right now. We've got more with Roger Stone on the other side, and we will be joined with Carla Spalding. All right, Roger Stone, you have found a gem in Carla Spalding, spaldingforcongress.com. Introduce her to our audience.
Well, Owen, I was very impressed and pleased when you correctly identified Omar Navarro as one of the most outstanding, hard-charging young conservatives running for Congress, and of course, challenging the very entrenched and quite crazy Maxine Waters. If there's any other congressional race in the country that has a profile as high as that race, it would be the race against Deborah Wasserman Schultz, the former Democratic national chairwoman who represents a South Florida district. And a Republican candidate has emerged in that race who is among the most exceptional candidates that I have met in a 40-year career in American politics. Carla Spalding is a Navy veteran, a registered nurse, worked at the Veterans Administration, mother of three, an outspoken and independent mind. Carla Spalding, welcome to InfoWars.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, guys, both of you.
Now, let's kind of start with the basics. You have an extraordinary background. Why are you running for Congress in a race that I think everyone admit in a district this Democratic is uphill?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you that I am a strong Black woman, not just Black woman, but a U.S. military veteran, a mother, a registered nurse who have also worked at the VA hospital for several years. And I have heard the cries of our veterans, not just our veterans, but also the elderly and the young people, as I am also an instructor at the university. It's important to me to be an advocate and to stand strong for the things that we believe in. And it is time also to get rid of our politicians and have non-politicians who understand the life and the real people, the real issues in this district and in the country.
Now, Carla, you're in South Florida. I'm in Los Angeles today. Kind of give us a quick overview of how the recovery for the hurricane is coming and what you were doing during Irma.
I have to tell you, honestly, I'm very tired. I've been at my facility for the past 5 days. Today's my first day actually home. And it's been very, very heartbreaking. And to know that we still have people who do care. We actually stayed back, gave up our families, and to be able to take care of those who are not able to leave our district and to be able to take care of them and stay put within the hurricane. And it was marvelous. But right now, we still do have people who are in need. Some are still without power, still without water, and still in need of supplies. So if there's any way that we can help get to the community, I think that'll be very helpful if we can do so. I also want to state something that was very important. While we were there, actually, and myself, helping the community, we have other opponents that were actually fundraising during this time where people are actually being homeless and needing them to represent to help them get through this time. And we will get through, as usual, as Floridians, we always get through these crises. But another thing, Roger, let me ask you a question. What is the most important duty of this government, of the government? And that is really to protect our citizens. And it seems as if only when we have crisis, we tend to come together. And I want the people to understand that this is why we are Americans, first of all and foremost, Americans. And it shouldn't only be when we have a crisis that we tend to do something or want to come together. We have to look at all the tragedies that we've had and still remember, at the end of the day, we are all Americans. And this is what America is about, fighting for what we have been fighting for, to come together as unity. And I hope from this, moving forward, some of these things that we've been arguing and fighting about, we can actually truly address true issues that affects the people in our district and in this country.
Well, I found it striking that during Hurricane Irma, you were working with 165 senior citizens to try to help them stay safe and sound, while Deborah Wasserman Schultz seemed to be driven by a need to get her face on TV, standing in the background with the mayor of Broward County and with your terrific sheriff there, Scott Israel, when she has no role whatsoever in hurricane recovery or activities, just another politician trying to get their mug on TV. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you what your view was on the Deborah Wasserman Schultz IT scandal.
Oh, I have to tell you that. I'm sure the Americans have recognized that at some point, the truth of the matter is, listen, she would much rather take her for a Pakistani than she would take her for Israel or any of our allies, and in fact, our own district or our Jewish community. So hopefully they will come to realization that this woman has absolutely no interest to take care of them and nothing else about herself. And that's what I would put it. And we need people, like I said, not someone who wants to take care of and defend the politicians there, the corrupted ones, but ones that are truly trying in the community to do things that can benefit and help the community to rise above.
I think you make a very good point there. Deborah Wasserman Schultz has a lot to answer for. Not only cheating Bernie Sanders as chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee, but saying that the Awan
We'll be
brothers
right back
were
on the War Room. Well, you can see why Debbie Wasserman Schultz is so nervous. Not only does she have the heat of the Awan brothers scandal on her heels, she's panicking, trying to get her mug on television, as Roger Stone just put it, but she also has a very serious candidate that's going to be running against her in the upcoming round of elections, and that's Carla Spalding. Roger and Carla, back to you.
Thank you.
So let's pick this up. Not only does Deborah Wasserman Schultz have the baggage of the fact that she got caught red-handed cheating Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm not a Bernie Sanders supporter, but what she did was despicable. You know, here in California, they still haven't finished counting the primary votes in the primary between Hillary and Bernie. That's because Bernie won, but they don't want you to know that. Now, on top of it, she has brought two Pakistani brothers, IT consultants, into the U.S. House of Representatives, paid them from taxpayer funds, induced 30 other members of Congress to hire them, and they turned around and stole not only money, but data through the House of Representatives computer system. Making it worse, after the Capitol Hill police informed Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, every man's first wife, that this criminal investigation had begun, she then changed the status of the Awan brothers in the computer system from consultant to employee, so they would continue to have unfettered access to the House of Representatives computer. That allowed them to steal. This, Carla, I believe, makes her an accessory. I believe that she should be charged. And what did she say to your constituents? The Awan brothers are only being persecuted because of their Muslim faith. What's your take on that?
Well, that's her only defense she has right now. And the good thing about that is, running against her, she cannot use the race card. She cannot use the religious card. Cannot use the gender card. And she's ran out of everything possible to use. And the people will see and the truth will come to light. And obviously, what I would say, to be honest with you, I would use one of President Trump's play card book and just simply say, you're fired.
Well, I think that there's a strong sentiment. In this particular district, I, of course, think the issue is not Republican-Democrat. The issue is not liberal-conservative. The people in this district, in which I live, deserve an honest congresswoman, deserve someone who is a person of integrity. You have a very unique experience at the Veterans Administration, and we got a little time here. Can you give us a quick breakdown of your role there as a whistleblower?
Well, I have to tell you, once I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. And after I came here, I joined the United States Navy. Prior to the Navy, after the Navy, I actually enrolled at the VA hospital where I was in several things. But my last 3 years, I had my own nursing clinic there where I took care of the veterans in my own clinic along with other staff. But I recognized that they were not doing things they were ought to be doing, and I reported them. I actually called every possible person to think of, I wrote letters to, but nothing was done about it. And to this day, they are trying, obviously with President Trump, but prior to then, they gave me the hardest time. I was not allowed to work evening shift. They placed me on the night shift. They did everything possible for me to try to quit that VA hospital because I stood firm for veterans. I stood firm for the things that were right. And they did not like that about me, that I was doing so. So I decided to go ahead, and after speaking to Governor Scott's office, they said it was a federal issue, and therefore that's what I chose. I chose to run federal, therefore I can help to make and change laws. When we talk about waiting time, it is the truth. When we talk about accidents happening to our veterans, it is true. All the things that you've been hearing, majority of those things are true. And I cannot just sit back and do absolutely nothing. The world needs to know that our veterans cannot work so hard and sacrifice their lives, their families, for us to come back and be treated so poorly. It's just unbelievably just not right. We have to change that. And I want to say something else regarding to that. If we do not do something better, which so many homelessness are there for them, why are the young people now today would ever even choose to go unless it's out of desperation to join the military? Because they're also knowledgeable of how poorly they're treated. So in fact, we have to come up with a plan, which I do have a plan, to help get them off the street, fix the administration, because that's where it starts. And until we can do something about that, we're only doing a Band-Aid.
Well, who better to bring reform to the Veterans Administration than someone who has worked there, someone who's seen the corruption. In your case, you uncovered the improper theft of perhaps millions of taxpayers' dollars in false reimbursements. You saw the horrific treatment that our veterans are getting, being forced to wait, in many cases to wait so long they die. And the politicians talk about it, but other than Donald Trump, there doesn't seem to be anybody who will actually do something about it. To me, this may be the number one reason why you are a unique candidate for Congress. This is an excellent time for you to tell the info warriors how they can go to your campaign website and how they can contribute, because as you and I both know, Deborah Wasserman Schultz will have millions, as much as she needs to retain this seat. But we can only count on the info warriors and people like them, like-minded patriots with their contributions of 25, 50, 100, 500, whatever you can give. I know your campaign is a grassroots campaign. We unfortunately don't have any multi-millionaire super PAC donors standing in the wings like Hillary Clinton. So how can people learn more about you, and where can they go to give, Carla?
Thank you, Roger. Well, you can go to spaldingforcongress.com. Spalding, no U, Spalding, for congress.com. Please go to that website and you can read more about me. And also, if you want to contribute or to just get involved, period, it would be very helpful because we can no longer have this lady sitting there. We've had other candidates ran 3 times and have lost 3 times. Now, I have the qualities and the recommendations and all the qualifications to win this race. Not because just because I'm a nurse, not just because I'm a veteran, not just because I'm an instructor, but because I have stood in line with the people, worked hard with them, fed them, clothed them, understand the things that requires to get the people into the district moving, understanding the need for having large companies still stay in the United States so that we can have our district being hired. The means of having donations and help and resources for small businesses so they can in turn do well to hire people within the district. We have to start focusing on the people. Listen, America, number one, America first. And someone that will support our president and the agenda that he has. We have to stand behind him and help him get what he set out to do, which the American people said they wanted. And we are trying to push him, but for some reason we're having a blockage in Congress. And those who don't want to be there, they need to get out and put the people who want to be there, like myself. So that's my message to them. Carla Spalding for Congress, if you're ready, come on board, because we are sure ready to get Debbie out of that seat. Thank you, Rob.
All right, there you have her, Carla Spalding, dynamic candidate for Congress. Folks, please go to her website. She needs your help. She deserves your help. You're going to see her again here at InfoWars and specifically on the War Room. Thank you very much, Carla Spalding. Owen, back to you.